Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're jumping into part 2 of bonding my two rabbits, Vinny and Snooki. But before we jump into today's session, if you guys haven't already watched part 1, I highly recommend going back and checking it out. That video will give you guys a breakdown of the beginning stages to Vinny and Snooki's bonding journey and is a great source of information if you're preparing to bond your own rabbits at home. So to catch you guys up, for the last week, Vinny and Snooki have been living in the bun room in their own separate pens. In that time, I've made sure to keep a wide enough gap in between their two setups to ensure they could really get comfortable with each other's presence. Once those 2 weeks were up, I then placed their pens directly against one another to see how they'd interact without a barrier. Unfortunately, things got a little heated, so I decided these two needed a little bit more time to warm up to one another. I really wanted to make sure that both Vinny and Snooki were happy with living next to each other and just really establishing positive moments for both of them. So I actually decided to do some assisted feeding times. And this is where I would have both Vinny and Snooki outside of their pens but together, but I would make sure that they do not have any physical interaction with each other, but they could see the other and actually munch with each other from a distance. This in my mind helps them to form some positive interactions, but as you can see here, Snooki paid no mind to Vinny and just jumped right over him, and Vinny was a little spooked. Alrighty, with part 1 being done, let's move into the next step, which is their first face-to-face interaction in a neutral space. Now, if you guys are new to rabbit bonding, here's a quick rundown. Bonding should always be done in a neutral territory, meaning a space that neither rabbit has claimed as their own. If you try to bond them in a space one rabbit already sees as theirs, it can actually trigger territorial behavior and cause fights before a bond can even form. I chose my kitchen as a designated bonding room as it's both new to them and also cleaned daily. In terms of the bonding pen, this space should be small, just big enough for them to move around, but not so large enough that they can avoid each other or chase. You'll see later on in this video, but I actually end up shrinking their bonding pen from a 2x2 to a 2x1, as the 2x2 was actually too big for them. Also, please do not feel bad for putting your rabbits in a tiny space. Keep in mind, this is a short-term experience in exchange for a lifetime experience. Our mission is for our two rabbits to become the best of friends, and starting in a small space is the only way to do so. You want the bonding area to be super simple. No hideouts, no toys, no distractions, just some fresh hay scattered around to keep things calm. This will help prevent resource guarding and gives them a chance to focus solely on each other. And quick safety tip before we begin, always have oven mitts or thick gloves nearby in case you have to safely intervene. Rabbit scuffles can happen fast, and it's important to protect your hands if you have to separate them. Well, alright, now that we've set the stage, let the bonding commence and let's see how Vinny and Snooki do.
I don't think Vinny sees her because on this side he's got his blind eye. Yeah, I don't think he knows that she's there just yet. Okay, now he does. They got into each other's faces without doing anything, so that's a good sign. All right, I think we're gonna remove the divider. Please pray for me right now. I'm so scared. Okay. Snooki's very impatient right now and wants to get in there. So head pets, keep them calm, lets them know that they're safe, that they're good. What are we thinking, huh? It's okay, no. No bites, no bites. So immediately, if there's anything bad that happens, I shut it down immediately and just kind of comfort them with pets. Nope, be nice.
Well, it seemed like Vinny mistaken Snooki as a delicious snack because he just took a little bite out of her. But in all seriousness, this is common. It's just really important to make sure you shut it down as soon as possible and comfort them with some head pets.
So eating's a good sign. It means Vinny's feeling comfortable enough to eat, which is good. Oh, I thought he was... Oh, no. Let's be good. It's okay. I was about to say, watch us be love at first sight.
Yeah, Austin, I don't think this is going to be a love at first sight situation. This is going to be a journey, you guys. I hope you guys are ready because I had to do days worth of bonding with these two because it was a roller coaster with them. So yeah, let's just speed run through on the high moments of day 1 and see how it went.
Oh my gosh, you just bit me through the mitt. You guys, this is why you need them.
Tension was running very high with these two. So I kind of was like, you know what? I think this bonding pen might be a little bit too big. I think they're getting a little bit spoiled here. It's too much territory. They're claiming corners. Let's go ahead and make it smaller. So I went ahead and shrunk the bonding pen from a 2x2 to a 2x1. Day 1 wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst. They had some moments, believe it or not, when things were pretty calm and they were eating and stuff, but I just mainly wanted to show you guys the things that went wrong. But there were some good moments, thankfully. I found out that the number one thing that was kind of making this entire thing blow up was the fact that Vinny kept asking to be groomed by Snooki, but Snooki was like, no. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you're asking for me to do. No thank you. Snooki has never lived with the rabbit, and I just don't think she really knows what to do. It's just not her natural instinct. And she's also very timid being with a rabbit for the first time. So when Vinny goes down really fast and kind of bows in front of her, she kind of considers that as a threat and gets super spooked and kind of retaliates with a jump over him, maybe even a bite. And then things kind of go south from there because she's scared, Vinny's mad, so it's just a whole mess. But thankfully, these two bonded for about a half hour the first day. Again, wasn't great, but not the worst. So let's move on to day 2 and see how they do then. These two were acting like straight up statues in the first 5 minutes of the bonding session. They were not moving a muscle. I was so confused how they went from day 1 where they were instantly attacking each other to now this. These clips are actually sped up by 1,000 so you guys can see just how little they're actually moving on this day. What you guys are about to see is Vinny actually bowing down to Snooki. His head went low, his ears relaxed, and he was clearly asking for one thing: to be groomed. In rabbit language, that's a big deal. It's actually a sign of dominance. Basically, this is Vinny's way of saying, hey, I'm in charge here, so you groom me. Now, whether or not Snooki accepts that dynamic is another story, but seeing him make this move is such an important part of the bonding process because it's all about communication, hierarchy, and figuring each other out. Monitoring Vinny and Snooki's behavior was super important for me to do because I wanted to make sure that they were both comfortable throughout this entire process. And one thing that I actually discovered is that Snooki was actually getting very uncomfortable with Vinny kind of going under her stomach. So I went ahead and made sure to actually take out Vinny from under her stomach because, again, he really shouldn't be there. And we want to make sure that we're establishing positive experiences for both of them. So this happened and completely caught me off guard. Vinny, out of nowhere, started grooming Snooki. If you know anything about rabbit bonding, you know how huge this is. Grooming isn't just sweet, it's symbolic. When one rabbit grooms another, it's a sign of trust, acceptance, and sometimes even submission. So for Vinny to make that move, it means he's starting to see Snooki not as a threat, but as a companion, and maybe even as a friend. This kind of moment is what you're really hoping for in a bonding. It's a major step forward. Another great sign is self-grooming, and you guys can see that Vinny is currently doing that. Now, it might seem small or unrelated, but when a rabbit actually starts to groom themselves during a session, it means they're feeling calm, comfortable, and not overly stressed by the other rabbit's presence. In bonding, any behavior that shows relaxation is a step in the right direction. It tells you that the rabbit isn't on edge and is starting to feel safe enough to act normally, even with another bun nearby. So yeah, a little self-care moment, we love to see it. So Days 2 bonding session started off really promising. About a half hour in, Vinny and Snooki were doing amazing. Really relaxed body language, calm energy, even moments where they were just chilling next to each other and, as you guys saw, grooming. But then it flipped, and out of nowhere, things got tense. They started lunging, chasing, and just like that, we were back to fighting. And honestly, as frustrating as it is to see progress unravel like that, this is exactly what makes bonding rabbits so difficult. 1 minute they're fine, and then the next they forgot about every bit of progress that they made. Bonding is never a straight line. It's messy, emotional, and unpredictable, but that's all part of the process. They're working out their boundaries, hierarchy, and trust, and unfortunately, conflict is sometimes just part of that conversation. So I was able to keep them in here for about an hour on day 2. One thing that I always try to do during a bonding session is end each session on a high note. That means not wrapping things up right after a fight or a tense moment, because rabbits remember how things ended. If they associate that end of a session with stress or aggression, it can carry over into the next one and set us back. So even if things got rocky mid-session, I always make sure to give them time to calm down. Sometimes that means sitting near each other peacefully, grooming themselves, or just relaxing on opposite sides of the pen, anything neutral or positive. Ending on a calm note helps reinforce that being around each other can feel safe and also uneventful. And that's that's the kind of energy I want to bring to every new session. All right, day 3, and I'll be honest with you guys, this was one of the more rougher sessions that these two have had. A lot of tension, a lot of nipping, and it really just seemed like neither of them was interested in backing down. After trying to let them work through it for a bit, I actually decided to switch things up and implement a technique called stress bonding. Now, stress bonding is where you place both rabbits in a box or carrier and then take them for a short car ride, usually about 5 to 15 minutes. The idea behind this is to create just enough stress that they instinctively lean on each other for comfort, or at the very least stay still and tolerate being close. This technique can really help to break cycles of aggression because the unfamiliar environment redirects their focus away from each other and then onto the situation around them. It's not a magic fix, but when done carefully and safely, stress bonding can actually help to reset the dynamic and create a more neutral foundation moving forward. After our car ride, I noticed a subtle shift, less tension, and a bit more calm between them. Definitely something I'll be keeping in my toolbox as we keep working through this process. So an hour after the stress bonding session, they were honestly doing really well, you guys. The tension had settled, they were calm around each other, and it seemed like they were really showing signs of comfort with self-grooming and laying next to each other. Because of that progress, I decided to actually take a small but also meaningful step forward, which was increasing the size of their bonding pen from a 1x2 to a 2x2. When bonding rabbits, timing is everything. Expanding the space too soon can actually sometimes cause territorial behavior to spike again, but if they're showing consistent signs of tolerance and calm body language, gradually giving them more room can actually encourage exploration and side-by-side movement in a more relaxed way. It's all about pacing. This was a little reward for the progress they made and a way to continue building that trust on their terms, of course, but in a space that also feels neutral but a bit more free. Safe to say, I think the stress bonding did something, you guys. I know there's a lot of opinions out there about that method, but I really think it brought these two closer together. So much grooming, so much laying next to each other, really hardly any fights, maybe a little bit of nipping here and there, but nothing to how it was before. I give this an A-. I'm still working for that A+, so we're gonna keep this bonding going, so let's move on to day 4. Change of scenery. We are now in my living room, and the reason for that is because we are moving into 24/7 bonding. This method means that Vinny and Snooki will now be together nonstop, day and night, until they're fully bonded with each other. That includes sleeping in the same pen, eating in the same pen, drinking in the same pen, playing in the same pen, and working through any disagreements that may come up. And because of that, that now means I'm camping out on the couch, keeping a close eye, and waking up throughout the night to make sure everything stays safe and respectful. This is actually the same strategy that I used to bond my previous pair of rabbits, and it worked out amazing for me. I truthfully just feel like this constant exposure allows them to communicate more naturally and just work through their hierarchy quickly without the setbacks that sometimes comes with short daily sessions. I know this method isn't for everyone. It's emotionally and physically exhausting, and you really have to be committed to monitoring their behavior 24/7. But based on my past experience, I really do trust this method and I know it works. And for Vinny and Snooki, I want to stick to what I know is best. So we've got a long night ahead of us, but if it brings us one step closer to a bonded happy pair, then this will all be worth it. About a half hour into the bonding session, there was no tension, no chasing, just really calm body language and a real sense of ease between them. It honestly felt like they were starting to settle into each other's presence in a really natural way. So I decided it was time to reward that progress with a little upgrade, and I expanded their bonding pen by 2 additional square feet. Giving them a bit more room is a great way to gently challenge their bond. It allows them to explore together in a slightly new environment and figure out if they can interact in a space that feels less confined. This step is really important in the bonding journey. It helps them to build confidence in their relationships and gives them a better idea of how they'll function in a more permanent shared space. So far, they're handling this upgrade really well, and that gives me hope that we're heading in the right direction.
11 p.m. I'm actually getting ready to go to bed, but I am right next to the bunnies, literally sleeping with my oven mitt on. I'm hoping that by doing this overnight, they should be better bonded, hopefully. But yeah, I am about to go ahead and head to bed after I finish watching my game. And yeah, I will see you guys in the morning. Good night. They did so well overnight, you guys. I actually got barely any sleep just because I was so anxious that I was going to not wake up if they got into something, even though most likely I would hear it because they're so loud when they get into little arguments. They did so good. They did amazing. A few nips here and there, a few thumps from Snooki, but all in all, they did amazing. I can't even put into words how amazing both Vinny and Snooki have done on day 5 of their bonding session. Again, remember where we started. It was rough. There was a lot of fights. There was a lot of fur pulling. There was a lot of nips and chasing and thumping. It was craziness. All of that completely had went away, and they really, truly were forming something special. Right before my eyes, I was just seeing 2 rabbits who just let their walls down and fully accepted one another. They spent the entire day grooming each other constantly, and not just licks, like full on mutual grooming sessions that just like completely showed trust, comfort, and care in each other. That was one of the clearest signs that a true bond had formed. Watching this unfold was truly emotional. I mean, after everything Vinny has been through with losing Milo and being on his own for quite some time, it truly just fills me up with so much joy to see him have a friend again. And Snooki, despite being so new to this environment, has really stepped into her role with so much grace and gentleness, and I'm very happy to see that she has a friend for the first time in her life. Their energies just match so beautifully in like a really balanced way, and they just work so well together, and I can really tell that their bond is going to be deep and unshakable. With that being said, I just want to make it very clear to you guys, in case you are interested in bonding your own rabbits or have that coming up in your future, just because Vinny and Snooki bonded in 5 days does not mean that this will happen for you. Again, rabbits are incredibly complex creatures, and they all have different personalities and different past experiences and emotional needs, so it's very important to meet them where they're at and go at their pace. For some, bonding takes days. For others, it might take weeks or even months, and that is totally okay. What matters most is being patient, observant, and letting them lead the process themselves. Every bond is different, and when it clicks, it's truly one of the most rewarding experiences. What a wild, emotional, and honestly beautiful 5 days it has been. Seeing these two go from complete strangers full of hesitation and tension to grooming each other, sharing space, and building a true connection, it is something I'll never take for granted. Thank you so much to everyone who's been watching and supporting along the way. Bonding rabbits is never easy, so your kind words and encouragement have meant more than you know. I am beyond excited to finally move them into the bun room together, to give them a shared space they can finally call home, and to start documenting their life as a newly bonded pair. There is so much more to come, and I cannot wait to share it all with you guys. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here, and as always, I hope you and your piggies, and also your buns, are happy, safe, and healthy. Bye, guys!